Hey music lovers, in this video I'm going to show you why the chorus to my song Are We There Yet? Alright! Which sounds like this. Nothing's ever right or wrong. Waves are crashing on the shore. Is such a great example of the use of tension and release in a melody. Now, to understand this, we're going to have to dive into some music theory. That's a note. That's a note. That's a note. All those notes exist by themselves in a vacuum of sound without any relationship to anything else and without any context. They don't have tension, they don't have a sense of home, they don't have a gravity, which means they don't want to pull anywhere or be pushed anywhere. They're just notes that exist inside a vacuum. When we play two notes together, now we have an interval. Intervals have names. That's a second, it's two notes apart. That's a third, it's three notes apart. A fourth, a fifth, a sixth, a seventh, an eighth or an octave. Once we get to 8, the pattern repeats, which means that a ninth is the same as a second. D is a ninth. C to D is a ninth, 10th, 11th, and so forth. When we have two notes happening at the same time, now there is a distance in between the two notes, and in that distance lives a certain amount of tension, of a feeling at rest, and a certain amount of gravity or weight or pull, which means one of those notes wants to move somewhere else, depending if it's tense or if it is at rest. When we have three notes together, we get a chord, and it sounds more full and complete as compared to just an interval. You'll notice a pattern here. We are skipping every second note. So we have what's called a first. We skip the second and we go to the third. We skip the fourth and we go to the fifth. And that's called a triad because it has three notes. 1, 3, 5, or first, third, fifth. Now this triad is at rest. It doesn't want to go anywhere. It doesn't want to be anything else. It's quite happy just sitting there being a triad. If we were to introduce the second, the fourth, or the sixth, like this would be with the second. This would be with the fourth. This would be with the sixth. Then we start to introduce a little bit of tension, and that tension wants to be resolved. That tension wants to be resolved to the closest at-rest note. For example, the 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, wants to fall down to the 5th. Tense, at rest. The 4th, it could want to rise up to the 5th, but actually the 3rd is closer. The 5th is 2 keys away. 1, 2. The 3rd is only 1 key away. So the 4th wants to fall down to the 3rd. And the 2nd, it could go either way because the 1st is 2 keys below and the 3rd is 2 keys above. So this 2nd, which is a little bit tense, could go up to the 3rd, or it could go down to the 1st. So that is tension and release inside of a chord. Everything we've talked about so far all comes under the umbrella of harmony. To make a song more interesting, we include a melody. And a melody is just a string of notes that floats on top of the harmony. For example, and inside of that melody, there is a certain amount of tension and a certain amount of at rest as well. The melody is at rest when it's using notes that are inside the chord beneath it. This E note in the melody is inside of the C chord beneath it. So that's an at-rest note. This D note is inside of the chord beneath it. So that D note is at rest. For a moment there, that C is not inside of the chord beneath it, so there's a little bit of tension there over the top of that G chord. The next chord, A minor, those two notes are inside the chord of A minor, A, C, E. So those are at rest melody notes. Rest, rest, tension, rest. D is not inside an F chord. It's the 6 and it wants to fall to the 5. And it does. It falls down to the 5th and now it's at rest. A chord can have tension in it, a chord can feel at rest, and the melody that sits above the chord can also be tense when it uses a note outside of the chord, or the melody can be at rest when it uses a note inside of the chord. Now that you've got the bare bones basics of tension and release, melodies and chord, and how the two work together, let's go back and listen to the melody of the chorus of Are We There Yet?
Nothing's ever right or wrong. Waves are crashing on the shore. Life goes on, but still we wonder. Are we there yet? Oh.
Let's dig into the theory of this melody. Remember, 1s, 3s and 5s are all at rest. 2s, 4s and 6s are tense and want to either fall or rise to a note that sounds more at rest. So the chorus to Are We There Yet starts on a D, and there's no melody over the top of that first chord. We then go to an F chord and the melody starts. The melody starts on a C, which compared to an F is the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's at rest. It then goes to a B, which is a sharp 4, not a 4, not a 5, but a sharp 4 in between, and that's very tense. It wants to rise to the 5th, but I don't let it. It goes down to the 3rd, which is at rest, and then it goes down again to the 9th, or the 2nd, which is tense again. So the first little phrase of the chorus oscillates between at rest and tension.
Calm down! Get a hold!
Rest, tension, rest, tension. And then the second two chords, B flat, G. While that F chord is still hanging around, the second chord, melody goes to a B flat, which is the 4, which is tense, but the chord that's coming next is also a B flat. So the melody is almost hinting at what's about to come by playing the 1 of the new chord. 1 of the new chord, bass goes there as well, which now makes a 4, which is tense, into a 1, which is release. But as the chord changes from F to B flat, the melody also changes from B flat to C, which is actually a 9, or a 2, which is tense. The melody hints at what's coming, makes you think it's going to be released, but when we get there, it's actually tense. There it is, one more time. And then the next chord, G, the melody lands on an A note, which again is a 9, which is tense. So it goes from tense to tense. And that melody wants to fall down to the 1st or rise up to the 3rd. So that is nothing. Nothing's ever right or wrong. And then the backup vocals go, so give it up. While the chord is G. So give it up. That's release, that's a 1. And that's a 7, which is pretty tense. But what these backup vocals are actually doing is hinting at the next chord that's about to come, which is a D. And that F sharp, which was a 7 over the G, becomes a 3rd over the D, which is very at rest. So we go from tension to at rest. So the melody is always hinting at what's about to come, but when we get there, things change. It's like that. Can't hold on to that F sharp for too long because the next chord is an F. And an F sharp over an F, they're right next to each other. That's a terrible sound, it's very tense. So we have to let go of the melody straight away. And then the fourth phrase out of the three, the first three are the same, the last one goes. This is a perfect example of how a melody note can become tense or at rest depending on what happens beneath it. Let's have a look. Are we there yet? So it goes, ah. So the F sharp is the 3rd of D. 1, 2, 3. And then for a moment, the bass goes down, the chord moves down to a C, which makes this F sharp, which used to be at rest, now in tension because it's a sharp 4 again. It's not a 5th, and it's not a 4th, it's a sharp 4. So we go 3rd, sharp 4, and then we resolve to the 5th. At home, tension, rest. And then that G note holds while underneath it we go B flat. Now the chord is a B flat, and so G is not in a B flat chord. A B flat chord is B flat D F, and G is the 6. So a bit of tension there. But then the chord underneath it, the bass note, rises to a B, which is actually the 3rd of G, which makes that G note the 1, which is super at home. So we're finishing the whole chorus on a feeling of rest. And then the backup vocals go, oh, which tell you what's coming next, which is a D chord. And they land on the 3rd. Oh. One more time from the top to wrap this up. I hope you got something out of this. Notes, intervals, chords, a feeling of tension and a feeling of at rest inside a chord, a melody that floats on top of a chord and how it can have melody and tension, and how you can hold one note and change what happens underneath to make that note feel tense or at rest.
Nothing's ever right or wrong. Waves are crashing on the shore. Life goes on, but still we wonder.